Hello, everybody. We on? We're
Hey
on.
guys,
Yes, we're on. So, who's here, Mrs. Spec?
Long Range Crash was here earlier, but they said evening Mexican Spec. Wish I could stay up and watch, but I am dog ass tired tonight. I'll try to catch you on the next one.
Okay, Lone Wrench. We understand you're working hard out there.
Barracuda's here,
Barracuda, Barracuda.
and they say I'm here. Sorry, it, the chat
Just in
changed.
case stray bullet comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. Barracuda says I'm here as usual. Uncle Doug is here, and they say happy Sunday Eve.
Hello, Uncle Duck. And wouldn't Sunday Eve be Saturday?
I don't know.
The day Eve is the day before.
Stephen Andrews 1 and 2 is here.
Hello, Stephen Andrews 1 and Stephen Andrews 2.
And he still wants to make me dance.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hello, Stephen Andrews 1. Hola, Stephen Andrews 2. My son
Your son?
is in school.
How is he in school at this time?
He's not in school right now,
Oh.
but he does not know the last day before summer vacation. Wasn't that the most important thing that we had to know in school? When our last day of school is before we get out again? Oh, Dios mío. What are we going to talk about tonight? Hey, Uncle Duck, you gave 5 people membership so they could see our special membership videos, but you're not a member, so you can't see them. I posted a video of Mrs. Spec dancing at a wedding, and we just recorded the video last night, which I promised to buy her the hot dog and the corn, which is what we did last night. So
they're really good.
Yeah. And it's like, what is it going to be, like 35 minutes or something?
Something like
The
that.
video, you're not cutting much out, are you?
I'm not. I can't because you were talking the whole time.
Right. The video was like 41 minutes because I just kept it going from the time we left the house to the drive over there, the buying of the hot dog, and I've never seen a hot dog cart like that had 4 different types of offerings.
Yeah.
So
Uncle Doug says yes, it's true. Chris is here.
Hello, Chris. We know it's late for you.
Uncle Doug says, okay, then I'll join.
Oh, there he is. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Doug. Welcome to Mexican Connection. Is that what you put?
Whatever it is, I don't know. Yeah, because I always go into Doug's live and say, your Mexican connection is here.
Okay.
Have no fear, your Mexican connection is here.
Okay, Surrender says, God, yes, how can he not? I don't know. We counted weeks in advance.
Yeah, I knew the date. I knew how many days it was before I was getting out, for sure. Because I want him to go on these trips with me if we're going to buy any cars. Although next month is going to be really difficult. I've got a guy that wants one of these Volkswagen Combis, and I just showed him another one. I've been talking to the owner. He basically rebuilt the engine. He put a new electrical system in the van. He's done all kinds of stuff, and it has the 2 rows of seating original that the guy wants or the guy's wife wants. Oh, that's nice, Chris. Okay. So I sent him that and told him, here's 2 prices, one for it to be professionally transported and one for me to drive it, because I'm figuring where I have to go to avoid all of the 7 million tourists that are going to be here.
Yeah.
Because we would have to fly into Mexico City. No, actually, it's in Estado de Mexico, right? AIFA. It's not in Mexico City. Yeah, and then from there, we take a bus to Pachuca Hidalgo like we did when we bought the Black Dart. And then from there, we take a bus to another city inside the same state, which is about 100 kilometers away. And that's where the van is. So then we would get a hotel and then do the deal on it, and then put new tires on it and take off on the road, or bring it back to Mexico City to leave it with the transport company, and then we fly back. So either way, it's going to be a lot of logistics on this.
Believe Me Yourself is here.
Hello, Believe.
They say hello, Mr. and Mrs. Spec in chat. And Chris says tomorrow is a holiday and I'm off from work this week. Yeah, tomorrow is
Memorial Day.
yeah, Memorial Day.
Yep.
I was checking the calendar right now a
Hmm.
minute ago.
But you only get paid triple for Mexican holidays, not U.S. holidays.
Yeah, but I was checking my calendar just to make sure I don't miss my appointment because I have an upcoming doctor's appointment.
Oh, okay.
I have to make sure that I know in advance when it is.
So I'm looking at anything that I do. I'm looking at how I'm going to get it there. We can't stay in a hotel in Guadalajara. We can't. I mean, we're going to have to drive through there because otherwise, if we go like up farther north to go through Durango and then into Mazatlan, we have to go through the state that's called Zacatecas, and we do not want to do that. We do not want to do that.
Uncle Doug is watching my video.
Which okay, the
I
one we have on.
apologize in advance.
No, it's nice. You were very happy out there dancing with your friends.
I was very happy.
Yes. So I'm looking at the logistics, and Mrs. Spec said that on a Volkswagen van, if we want to do the live the whole way, she'll put the phone right up at the top of the windshield so the sun won't be beating down on it all the time, and maybe even turn it upside down, turn the phone upside down, and do it that way, because this is one that has the higher roof on it. Because some of the earlier ones have the regular roof, and then in '92 they raised the roof another 6 inches or something, so you could stand up in there and stuff. So this one has the higher roof, so it'll give it a little bit of cover. What does that kid want? A little bit of cover from the sun. But other than that, the phone is right there at the front. I told him to find out what the last date is. He says okay. Like I was telling Luis at the post office when I talked to my son. Well, how you doing? Fine. What's going on? Nothing.
He's a teenager. What do you want?
It's one word answers all the time.
Juan Paco Alpha's here.
Hola Paco.
Hola Paco. Simando says asking Chris how's the Baron. Paco Alfa dice, hola amigos, solo termino de cortar unos árboles de aquí que se cayeron y regreso. Ánimo que todo vaya bien. ¿Se cayeron por la lluvia de ayer?
El viento de ayer.
Ya, el viento de ayer.
¿Vas a quemarlos después, como nosotros?
Ya que termina de llover. Josh Homan is here.
Hello, Josh.
Hey, Josh. Chris says, Steven Andrews, waiting for me to put in a new steering rack.
You can still drive it, Chris. I've driven them with bad racks. It's just harder steering, but you can still drive it and see what it drives like. The rest of the car.
CD Burlock is here.
Hello, CD Burlock.
And they say, where are you ending up? Is it near a U.S. state?
If this guy wants it delivered to Nogales, which is, there's a Nogales, Arizona, there's a Nogales, Sonora, and we deliver it to the hotel in Sonora, and the owner has to come into Mexico and take delivery, and then we tell him where to drive it it has to go to the commercial crossing in order for him to export it. He cannot go to the pedestrian crossing where people are just crossing into the country. To import the car into the U.S., it has to be where all the big rigs are. So depending on the day, it could be a few of them, or it could be the line all the way out, all the way back to another state. That we've had both of them, but since we're going to be bringing it here, we can do a little bit of work on it, because there's just a little bit of rust starting at the bottom of the sliding door. So we could take care of that while it's here, and a little touch up on the paint. But it looks like because he sent me pictures of the whole engine was apart. He had the bearings in his hands, and he put of course the new timing belt in it. He did a lot of work on it, and it doesn't have original wheels, so that may be an issue. But it looks pretty decent, and I hope he goes for it. Not because of where it is, but because I think it's a really solid van for the price.
Chris says, no way, the rack binds and then releases suddenly. No bueno.
I've driven them like that.
I don't know.
Just pull it.
Believe says, we named our dog 5 Miles, so we can tell people we walk 5 miles every day. Uncle Doug says, lovely ladies, nice video. I like the culture.
Mrs. Spec was the one in the red dress, by the way. The shiny reflective red dress,
Yes.
which is right here.
Yeah, how hang it right
It's
there.
right there.
Steven Andrews says, still kicking myself for not buying that LeBaron. I am 15 minutes from him.
It took a lot to get it. You know, Chris has done a lot of work, so I don't know if you wanted it actually. And besides, it's a LeBaron.
Firefly is here.
Hello, Vilefly.
Firefly is grazing on a manwich burger. What's a manwich burger?
I'm not sure you want to know. They sold it in a can, and you add it to ground beef, and then you mix it all up, and it was not a sandwich anymore. It was a sandwich.
Kind of like
That was on the commercials.
hamburger helper?
No, it's a red sauce.
Alright. Firefly says, good evening. Uncle Doug says, I figured you should be in her arms. Yeah, he should have been.
I'm not a dancer though. I was recording the whole thing.
He didn't dance with me once.
And then somebody, her friend's aunt or something,
Yes.
said that I was looking at Mrs. Spec with love in my eyes or something like
Yes. Oh, you're saying you weren't? Are you saying you
I'm
weren't?
not saying anything.
You're so rude.
I was just happy to see her having fun with her friends dancing because I'm not a dancer.
Chris says to Steven Andrews, it'll be fun getting it back to on the road, but to be honest, I'm not sure I'll be keeping it.
Ship it back across the country. Steve wants to buy it, Chris. The road trip will be really good.
Believe says, I used to have manwich often. What does manwich taste like? What does the red sauce taste like?
It has onions in it. It has all kinds of stuff in it.
Fernando says, ironic. My Eagle needs a rack too, but I can't drive it. Type rod bolt broken in the rack.
Ooh.
Firefly is all about prefabricated sauces.
Just buy a can and dump it in.
I do like ragu. Ragu is really good.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to have on my spaghetti next week.
But I don't like the other one. What is it called, the other one?
No, Barracuda, you are not talking food tonight. You are not.
And why not?
Chris and I know why not. You don't need to know.
Okay. If he says you shouldn't, I guess I should. Firefly is a fake cook. No.
No, you are not a fake cook. You make all kinds of good stuff. There's no such thing as a fake cook. If you make food and you can eat it, then you're a cook.
Yes.
If you make fancy food, then you're a chef.
Yes.
There are a whole lot of female cooks, but not very many female chefs. I haven't heard back from my client with his wife's answer as to which one she liked on the list, but some of them are really expensive. A really low mile. He says this one, it's not reading on the dash, but it should be about 85,000 kilometers on it. The dash is reading 11,000 because the speedometer cable broke or something, so that would have to be fixed before it gets delivered.
Barclay says, my friend can cook like a chef compared to me.
Well, you don't have to compare yourself.
No. Chris says, my wife told me to take out the trash. I said, you cook it, you take it out. Rodney Dangerfield. Uncle Doug says, I can't cook for crap.
I just heard a joke today. It said, what's the difference between a vitamin and a hormone?
Plenty of differences.
Let's see if anybody knows the answer in the chat.
Percula says, I heard Joe Rogan talking about things that people ate on Fear Factor that we're totally discussing. Oh, I hated that show.
That was the whole point of Fear Factor.
I hated that show.
Yeah. He ate a few things too.
Uncle Doug says one yells at you?
No. Hey, Grease Belly.
Hey, Grease Belly. Said you can't hear a vitamin.
No, you can't make a vitamin.
Can't make?
Mm-hmm. Stephen Andrews got it right. You can make a hormone.
For money, sure.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, Joey didn't disagree with you. Butterfly says the smoked salted pork he made one time slaughtered everything else I have eaten.
everybody has a specialty.
Chris says, how do you make a hormone? Don't pay her. Papa says, just pay me in salted pork, please. Chris Belly says, hey, Mex and Mrs. Mex.
How's Florida today, Grease Belly?
Oh,
Grease Belly lives in the town where I visited Chris, or where I visited Sean in '89, where I had the really good barbecue. I was there for 2 weeks in that town.
Regular says that's a bit edgy. Uncle Doc says, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's who I just saw it on a short, Steven.
Steven says, Benny Hill taught me that.
Yeah.
Chris Belly says, super duper hot.
Same with us here. We're in the 90s pretty much every day. Some days going over 100. Yeah, Bradenton was the little place I stayed at.
Chris Belly says, now I live in Parish.
You have to like the water if you stay in Bradenton, because you have the Gulf of whatever right there, and you have Sarasota Bay right there. So you either fishing or swimming or scuba diving or whatever. I'm not much of a water person. Water doesn't like me very much. I mean, there's all kinds of things because we live close to the ocean here. There's all kinds of things we can do. There's the water skis. There's the you can take boats out to see dolphins or whatever, and there's a little island off the coast of our thing over here. Never done any of that. I've been here over 25 years.
Banana?
No.
You
oh, that's crazy.
Why?
You got to hold on to that sucker. There's no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No thanks.
It's fun.
No.
Pablo says, on the Gauge project, I am fighting with the OBD1 interface and stream definitions. It is solvable.
Okay.
Hippie Long is here.
Hello, Hippie Long.
Hippie Long says, Suarez just won the Coke 600.
Those are words.
Okay.
Is that a race somewhere?
Chris Belly says, I hate the water, but I'm stuck here because of my family.
Well, being that you live in Florida, the water comes to you fairly often, dropping from the sky. We don't have much of that here, but when it does rain, the front of our house floods. Our house is a little bit elevated, so water has never actually gotten into the house, no matter how bad it's gotten in front. But
it's like a bowl.
Yeah, but it goes away in a day or two.
City Borlock says it cools in 2 days, 90 to 76.
But you're in California.
Chris Valley says, I used to be really into fishing, but that got old and there's a million people out there now.
Mm-hmm.
He belongs to Viva la Mexico.
La Mexico? Viva Mexico.
Mexico.
Yes.
Pablo says, just fish where the natural springs are. Silverlock says, NASCAR Coke 600 miles.
Wasn't it the Indy 500 today?
No. Apparently it's 600.
We're in May, right?
Yes. Barcola says, Adam Carolla is not much of a water person. He said he never showers, or not very often.
He's made comments like that. Why'd you skip over Grease Belly that says it's actually really been dry here for the past 7 or 8 months? Really? In Florida?
I didn't notice.
At this time of year? This is springtime. I mean, Mother Nature doesn't have to take the water very far from either side of Florida to dump it on your head. Either from the Gulf or from the Atlantic.
I heard that it's supposed to be...
let me ask Grease Belly this. Grease Belly, on the eastern side of Florida, does it stay really warm year-round? I'm asking because we went down to Veracruz, which was at the Atlantic Ocean. The water was right in front of the hotel in February, and it was hot there. How could it be hot in February at the ocean? It was never that way at the Pacific Ocean. I don't see how that was even possible, but it was. Is it the same in Florida?
Chris says Indy 500 was today. Chris Perez says I'm going to go on the poverty tour, so I'll be in Utah in about 10 days, I think.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Bradford says fishing is more about enjoying nature most of the time.
What car are you taking out there, Grease Belly?
Chris says winner won by 0.025 seconds, closest finish ever.
Wow.
Silverdog says IndyCar is in a different league as NASCAR.
Yeah.
Josh Homan says this car is quite a fine.
What is it? The Packard or something?
Bradford says Gulfstream. Chris Perez says because Florida has been getting hotter for the past 10 years or so. It used to get hot from like the end of April through the end of September. Now it's like all year virtually.
It was surprising. February, it's still winter time, and we walk out of the hotel. We're just trying to waste time. We walk down the street. Everybody's out at night. It was. I mean, they were preparing for Mardi Gras, or Mardi Gras type thing, whatever it was called.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I would expect February at the actual ocean for it to be colder, but it wasn't.
Buffalo says the Pacific is way colder.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. You don't go out to the beach in February and expect to not freeze your toes off.
George Thomas is from Kansas, but it looks of it. Chris Valley says my birthday is February 13th, and it's usually about 85 degrees on that day.
You share the birthday with my father. One day before Valentine's Day. Never worked out for him. Josh, this car has been in Mexico for a long, long time. I'm not sure where those license plates came from. But a car like this, where's the VIN on it? What kind of documents do they have? Because there's no Mexican license plate on it. Was it ever registered here? How much is owed on it? It is very original, though. Probably not the color. I wouldn't expect the color as original.
Fernando says he's not Pedro Rodriguez, but good job, Mr. Suarez. He belongs us in the way the oceans rotate. Our west we get Alaska water, ocean. Florida gets Africa warm water.
Well, that may be why. Yeah. It just surprised me because we're right there. We didn't go down to the beach the second time we were there. I wanted to so I could feel the water. We didn't really have a lot of time, but next time we're there, I want to go feel the water, see what kind of temperature it is.
Take risks and use lots of
Condoms?
With Chris? Excuse you?
Not with him, no.
Grace Bella says, yeah, I get Valentine's Day cards that say happy birthday or vice versa. Pablo says, there also are no stonefish in Florida.
Would you be able to eat a stonefish? Since they're stone?
I think they don't have that much meat. Pablo says, invasive lionfish though. Yeah. I follow a guy that goes into Florida beaches and kills the lionfish. And I don't know why I don't know why I started following him. But I mean I know why, but it's so dumb because he like goes out there and obviously he can't talk while he's snorkeling, but he does the voice over afterwards. So he's talking like he's explaining what he's doing, and he's like, "Oh, today I went out there and I was finding a fish, and while he is stabbing the fish with the whatever it's called
Skewer.
with the stabby stab." He makes the noise stop or like damn, and I like enjoy it so much that he makes the noise that I immediately subscribe. I don't know why. Wait, then Chris Valley says you can feel hot on the beach and feel quite cool in the water.
Yeah, but I would compare it to the frigidness of the Pacific Ocean.
TP Long says no, maybe it is how the planet works.
Maybe.
No, not maybe. It is how the planet works.
Oh, yeah.
Grace Valley says you should see the Burmese pythons out here.
I don't need to see them. They were. Never mind. One almost got me when I was about 10 years old. It was a reticulated python, actually.
Barracuda says my part of the Pacific is cold, so it is a Tasman Sea. Grace Valley says the most invasive species down here is people. Yep, definitely.
From everywhere.
Uncle Doc says, I fish in Sacramento, the Delta, release only, mercury poison. Yeah,
Mm.
I like fishing, but I haven't done it in a while.
How do you know the level of mercury in the fish you just caught
Per,
to eat it or not?
per area. Butler says, trident fishing for lionfish. Yeah. But he just makes the noise when he stabs, and I love it, and I don't know why. I'm such a simple person. Stray Bullet is here. Hi, Stray
Hello,
Bullet.
stray bullet.
I see you. Hippie says, I would like to know from our Australian friends if their India side is warmer than the Pacific. Oh.
That'd be a good question.
Driscoll says, oh no, I bet you hate snakes now.
Well, I never liked snakes, but I like animals with fur, like this cat that's sitting behind us that has all of a sudden become our mascot every time we do a live.
He's not afraid of them.
No,
He just
not at
doesn't.
all.
He just doesn't care for them as a pet.
No,
Like
they're a stupid pet.
he wouldn't. He wouldn't like if there's a snake in the middle of the road. He wouldn't. He wouldn't change lanes to uh, like run over it. Like he doesn't hate them,
No,
but he just he wouldn't go to a pet store and get a snake for a pet.
no. But I'm not scared of them or anything. Too much experience with them.
Yeah. Chippy Long says, Uncle Doc, I'm in Fresno. Chris Valley says, I'm pretty sure the Gulf side of Florida stays warmer in the water because we have that shelf that's actually pretty shallow for quite a ways.
Yeah, probably in the sun heats up the water there. When I was in the Gulf over there, I didn't feel any chill in the water or anything, but I was there in the summertime. Boy, did I get sunburned. I learned to stop listening to my friend. Oh, the sun's different here. You don't need the sunscreen. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
piss off. I had to rent a car the next day so I could have air conditioning because of how burned I was.
Uncle Doug says, not so far away he belongs. Chris Valley says, I love cats now. Yeah, their cats are great. I love dogs as well, though. Buffalo says, I find the large constrictor snakes to be boring.
They're
Yeah,
nicer though.
I,
The
I like the smaller snakes better. They're cuter.
this guy had my friend had the boa constrictor and he had the reticulated python. The python was about 12 feet long and the boa was, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7, something like that. He would take the boa to the park so the girls would pet the snake and pet him at the same time. The python only wanted to get away. When the python was in the pool, it would go straight to the other side of the pool and get out, try to get out and get away. But you could never put the python around your neck where the python's just going to stay. It's always trying to get away. The boa was happy just to hang there and just be sociable. When you let the boa go on the grass, it'll just go for a little bit, stick her head up, go a little bit more, stick her head up. She's not trying her best to get away from everybody.
Wait. Chris Valley says, people having stupid pets is exactly why we have a Burmese python invasion now. Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly. This guy had two Gila monsters, highly illegal, the only venomous lizard in the
And
world,
it's not the only one.
and he had 6 piranha, and then he forgot to feed them, and then he had 5 piranha. Just stupid, just stupid.
Believe says Luna, the Panthera is a favorite furry cat of large size. What?
Pantera, panther.
Favorite furry cat of large size. Are you talking about a cat, or are you talking about a furry, or are you talking about?
Oh, come on, read it because things
Anyway,
are going.
Stray says the Pacific Ocean is cold from the middle of California north too. Very.
Well, it's not too warm down south either.
Chris Belly says, "Oh, you can get fried down here big time."
Yeah, I did. And
Chris,
then we went to Disneyland.
oh, that sucks. Chris says, "I hear
Sorry,
that's."
excuse me, Disney World.
Chris says, "I hear that sunscreen in New Zealand is absolutely mandatory." Oh, Butterfly says, "For a spirited snake that is non-poisonous, pick a black racer or blue racer. Born pissed off and will watch TV with you intensely. Suspicious of the TV and all that."
but they're too small to grab when they're fat. They're a fast snake. Once they get in the grass, you're not finding it ever again.
Hmm. Pergola says, I've been in the Pacific and Queensland, Australia, in the summer. It was really warm. We've heard the western side gets a cold current from Antarctica.
Where's Bondi Beach? On the west coast
No
or
sé,
the east coast
no sé.
or the
Chevrolet
north or south?
says, Chevrolet says, the Willys is very nice. It would be great if it had the bed on it.
Yeah, well, it didn't, so they built whatever that was. And it was interesting. It had the trim on the door that was white, but it had chrome around it like it was factory.
Pergola says, I never used it, Chris. Butterfly says, the silly snakes act like it's poisonous, though. I'll add it to it on suspicion. Police says, Luna the Pantera is a YouTube channel. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Mm,
Chris says to Barry.
no, I was. Wait,
No, come on.
Chris is very. Really, I read that since the ozone layer is thinner, missing down there, sunburn is a serious problem. Chris Berry says Disney sucks.
We had to go because we were both from California, so I wanted to see Epcot Center, and we went to Universal. We went to a few different places. So, and since he was in the business, he was in the entertainment business with his stepdaughter and her mother and everything. So it was an interesting thing to be there with him.
People Long says, Vile, I had a 6-foot black racer. It got away and lived in my parents' farmhouse for years and years. Jabula says, those Willies were constantly trying to kill me in my youth. Babla says, the cure for sunburn is Noxema. Instant cooling thanks to high methanol and content. Menthol content. Shuts those nerves right off and cools. I used the.
He says moisturizes too.
I used the green. What's the green substance with it?
I don't know.
Aloe vera. I use
vera.
aloe vera. Bioflex is moisturizes too. Barbados Bondi is in the East Coast.
Okay.
Bioflex says, yeah, Hippie Long, they are territorial too. Hippie Long says, I watched a show about Bondi Beach cops.
We all do Hippie Long.
I watched a show about Bondi Beach, the lifeguards. Bondi, I think it's Bondi. What is it called? Bondi Rescue. It's called Bondi Rescue. He belongs to no. Tribble says that was trained for a Willys wagon, probably.
Probably. But it looked factory.
Chris Bailey says Epcot's pretty cool. Disney sucks though. Universal is so. 50. Uncle Doug says that one really is. That one really heavy?
No, it's a 318.
Buffalo,
Mexicans love their stickers though.
Buffalo says aloe vera sucks for sunburns. I haven't tried anything else with aloe vera, so I don't tell you. Regular says a lot of people use sunscreen. I'm old school. Bruce Bailey says you get sunburned more in Florida because of the prismatic effect because Florida is a peninsula bordered by water. It's like the sun has a magnifying glass. Oh, that sucks.
Grease Belly. Like I said, my friend was he used to be the stunt double for John Eric Hexum on the Voyagers, and when John killed himself, my friend was basically out of a job. He looks very much like him. So we're at Epcot Center and we're going into one of these rides, and his stepdaughter was a very famous. She had a TV show, very famous. Every kid in the country knew her. And we're in line, and he just starts telling this little girl next to us who his stepdaughter is. Right? Oh, really? Shows her pictures, all kinds of stuff. And then we're in the ride. The little girl wants to sit next to him. We get out of the ride, and we're walking away, and he says, "I really hate kids." I said, "Stop telling people who she is. That'll solve the problem."
City Love has never seen Bondi Beach. Like the beach or like the show Bondi Beach?
The show, probably.
Uncle Doug says boo on the fake sticker.
Yeah, it's a 318. I don't know if you noticed. It's a 67 Mexican Spec Coronet that has the Dodge Charger front end on it, the flip around headlights from the factory. It was only 1 year here, and it has the Coronet RT taillights from the factory. But it doesn't say RT back there. They made an emblem that says Coronet back there, which you will never see in the US. They just want so much money for those cars because they're very special, but if that one's not in good condition.
Barclay says menthol is a magical compound for shutting off nerves and pain. Chris says low. Triple says neither. On he's neither seen Bondi Beach, the beach, or the show. Barracuda says, when I was in Bondi Beach, I noticed that a lot of the ladies weren't wearing anything on their top parts. Yeah, it's not weird there, and it is actually illegal to take pictures of them. Shebole says that's probably why the local people get all wrinkly, Grease Belly.
Stray Bullet, I think they arrive wrinkly to Florida. I don't think they start out like that, and I don't think they get wrinkly in Florida. They arrive that way.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice to find one of those coronets, in reasonable condition for a reasonable price, and then fix it up and make it look really nice, and then send it to the U.S. Because every expert at every car show is going to say that grill never came in that car. Yes, it did, from the factory. From the factory. I mentioned it to Tony one time, and he says, no, that can't be, because you'd have to change the bumper, you'd have to change this, you'd have to change that. I said, that's the way it came from the factory in Mexico. Just like that, because we didn't have the Charger, so they wanted a car that looked like that. So when you flip the headlights around, it looks really cool. I mean, Tony knows he has a Charger. He has a 67 Charger.
Buffalo says, "I'll be more than willing to do the Pepsi challenge with aloe vera versus Noxzema. My previous girlfriends preached aloe vera at me, were instantly shut down when I put Noxzema on their burns." Uncle Doug
So
says,
we've been doing it wrong the whole time.
I never tried Noxzema.
Great. I don't think they sell Noxzema here. We're gonna have to find something to substitute.
Yeah.
Because I do get sunburned.
Yeah. Well, I got sunburned this last trip that we had because I was walking around in Guadalajara through all the cars.
We've learned our lesson, because like we bought the 82 carryall, and I was driving it back, no air conditioning, window down, my arm out the window. The sun was on my side, so I had a good arm and I had a crispy critter on the other arm. And it stayed burned for a long time. So now I wear long sleeve shirts when I drive. I have gloves if I need it to cover my hands, but I keep my hands, I see where the shade is, where like the A-pillar shade is, and I keep my hands on the steering wheel where that is. So, I'm trying not to get burned when I'm out there, because the sun is really intense here.
Uncle Doc says, yes, in the EOS they will go nuts.
Absolutely. And they still wouldn't believe you if you told them it's from the factory.
Papa says, now if they get mixed menthol with aloe vera, they might have something to sell.
I'm sure it's out there.
Papa says, yep, you've been doing it wrong the whole time. Lol.
As I do everything wrong.
Chevrolet says, I remember Coppertone when I was a little kid.
Stray Bullet, you remember the billboards where the dog is pulling down the little girl's panties and seeing the tan lines or the burn lines? It was animated. That was the Coppertone company.
I remember that. This is my number one helper here in Florida. Just got deported back to Mexico. He told me he's looking for a Ford Fairmont over in Mexico.
Tell him to call me. I know where they all are.
Buffalo says, Pickle Rick's car is here. Barracuda says, I was appalled. Chevrolet says, yes.
Grease Belly, I know where all the Fairmonts are. The 2 doors, the 4 doors, the wagons, the Squire wagons with manuals. I have a whole list of them. It depends where he is in Mexico and how close he wants the car to be and what he's looking for.
I want to mention my dream.
Well, go ahead, unless the cat goes crazy.
I was dreaming randomly that whatever I was doing, it doesn't matter. I was doing something, and then I wanted to get away from where I was, so I started flying. And I started flying throughout the city's streets, like on between the streets and whatever. I was flying throughout the streets, and I was seeing the streets, obviously, while I was flying. I was thinking to myself, this will be a great way to find cars for my car. To find cars that are not for sale, that I just see.
See, it's in your head. It's in your head.
I know, baby.
Firefly
I'm
says,
covering
wow,
it. When? Sorry.
wow, that's a Rambler. Yes, the name Rambler was used for many more years in Mexico. Technically, it's a VAM, VAM. It's obviously not AMC because it's American Motors Corporation. It's VAM. That's what they called it in Mexico. But they did even up till '83. These cars were known as all the AMC cars were known as Ramblers here.
Chris says, I let her know he loves Fort Fairmonts. I think he's near Jalisco.
Oh, that's not a good thing right now, Grease Belly.
Well, I mean, he doesn't stay at home.
Well, yeah.
He might get a job.
We were
part-time job.
We were at the hotel in Guadalajara on this last trip, and because I have stayed there 4 times this year, I've gotten into the what's it called, the program called?
I don't know.
Whatever the program to get a better rate. So they said your rate is 1,650 pesos for the room, which includes the breakfast buffet for 2 people. I said okay, but they said not next month. Next month when the World Cup comes to town, I asked, so how much is that room going to be next month? And they said 8,000 pesos. So it's going to be more than 4 times the rate because the World Cup's going to be there. And supposedly 7 million people are coming to Mexico in the 3 different cities, Guadalajara, Mexico City, and Monterrey. I don't know how they're going to be split, but that means no hotels. You're not going to get into a restaurant. You're not going to be able to drive on the street. None of that. All the flights are going to be booked. All the buses are going to be booked, which is really going to mess me up, going out for my next vehicle, which is going to be soon.
Yeah.
I'm planning around all of that. So, I don't know what it's going to be like. We checked out the hotel we stay at in Mexico, the state, and they gave us the same rate for those days that we always get. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Chris Belly says, Triple says, Rambler name is older than any of the big 3 auto manufacturers.
Yep.
Chris says, look who finally pronounced Monterrey correctly.
Yes, because she has told me many times. So I did it that one time, but don't expect the next time.
Chris Belly says, I forgot about the World Cup.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't.
Papa says, I suggest a vacation to escape the World Cup mess.
To where?
Yeah.
It's not coming here, but if I have to go out and get another vehicle, I have to go out and get another vehicle. I can't sit here in the house. We have bills to pay.
Yep.
So we left the truck down in Veracruz. It did not get on the vessel this month, so it has to sit there for an extra month. So I have to pay extra for the shipping down there. Ugh, what a mess.
Quiero agua. Cuídame, chat. Me comí agua.
Joey, go get her some water.
I filled this up with water.
Your cup's down there.
No, that has lemonade. I filled this up with water or something. It was hot today.
Yes. Humid.
Yes.
Very humid here. Grease Bailey, I'll tell my buddy Flaco about you and send him a link. I don't know if he's got enough money saved up to get a car yet. Well, there's some that need work, especially in Guadalajara. There's quite a few of them there. If he's willing, just have a good running car that doesn't look that great, they're not that expensive. There was one in, I think it was in Guanajuato. It looked really good. It was a chamois color, inside and out, but it had a noise in the rear end. So the trick would have been to buy the car, go to somebody locally and have them check out the rear end. And if it needed bearings or whatever, have them take it apart and put the bearings in, then drive it home. But I don't know. I don't think that car's available anymore. I haven't seen it for sale for quite some time. Yeah, and then after he gets it fixed up and everything, a paint job is fairly cheap here. So he can have a nice car after that.
Who can have a nice car?
His friend, Flaco. Flaco.
Flaco.
Was his name Flaco an ironic name, or was he really skinny?
Because it could be both ways, Mexico.
Yeah, definitely. I really like these AMC cars, the Americans, the Gremlins, the Lermas, but I can't make any money on them. Nobody will pay anything for one of these cars, even though they're really good cars. Vilefly needs to find some chocolate.
Oh,
What kind of chocolate do you like, Vilefly? I'm not partial to Nestle.
I'm having some rice cakes.
Yeah, isn't that sad? She's eating rice cakes.
They're good.
Yes, Vilefly. Flaco means slim, but you can also use it ironically on a very fat guy.
When you go to the market here in Mexico, they will call you güerita or güera, which means blonde, regardless of the color of your skin. You could be the darkest person ever, they'll still call you güerita.
Try it like a compliment.
Yeah.
Here, take this. I have to go get my pills that I forgot to bring with me.
Dark chocolate. Oh, dark chocolate. Papa says with some kind of fruit mixed in. Oh, yes. Giardelli is good chocolate. I haven't tried Giardelli. I tried Lind. How do you call it? Lind. Lind chocolate.
I don't know what that is.
The chocolate. Lind. Chocolate says brand new modern Wansbury. Yeah, Buffalo wants chocolate, dark chocolate with some fruit. He belongs to Porto Rambler does not sound too rebellious. Chris says to Buffalo, you know who has good dark chocolate for cheap? Aldi. We don't have an Aldi here. That sucks. Buffalo says for coffee. Dude, Anders says Giraldi is so good. Oh, Giraldelli, sorry. Giraldelli. I want to try it.
They're in San Francisco, not far from these guys.
Grace says, I have 73 Hornet X hatchback with the Levi's edition, and I love the little car.
Does it still have the Levi interior, which is basically just blue interior?
Backfly has an Aldi's stash of chocolate.
Mm,
So
I don't know what that is.
now I have to go visit Backfly. Barracuda says, and Rambler Classics. Aldi's the store? You know Aldi's?
No, I don't.
Okay. Barracuda says, and Rambler Classics. Chris says to Butterfly, nice. Great minds think alike. Silverlock says, Lynn, good dark chocolate. Yeah, it's really good chocolate. People Long says, I was disappointed with Aldi. I hear they had good prices. Butterfly says, Aldi is for the weird food stuff you can't find elsewhere. Bella says, yes, it's all original and complete.
Nice.
Chris says, Aldi is good for a lot of things, but not everything. Not a big fan of their fruits and vegetables. He belongs to Chris. My ex-wife had the Wrangler Gremlin.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. On these pictures, do you like it better that they're in order of year, or should I randomize them so you never know what's coming next? I mean, as far as year goes, you could jump from 63 to 2001 because I can do that when I save the pictures.
No.
What?
Because when I put them on the file, it saves by name. So if you put that by name, it would just.
Yes, and I can say the first car that I save would be number 1. The next one would be number 2, and then it'll stay in that order.
This guy says 304 V8 factory AC is a nice car actually. Buffalo says goat cheese with cranberry
wow, it
mixed
even has
in.
a V8, which we never got here.
Buffalo says goat cheese with cranberry mixed in. Stuff like that. I only tried goat cheese once and I didn't enjoy it, but that was a long time ago. Regular says, a friend of mine put a 454 Chevy engine in his four-door Rebel. That's quite rebellious.
Yes.
Chris Perry says, hippie, you mean Levi's Gremlin?
No, they had a Wrangler edition as well.
Hippie Long says, hers was a 304 three-speed manual. Buffalo says, the fruits and vegetables are subject to demographic. Yeah, fair. Uncle Doug says, random here. Buffalo says, randomize, please.
Okay.
He
I'll
belongs
do that. I'll do that next time.
to three were random. He belongs says, yeah, that's it. And Buffalo says, be right back, opening the fridge.
Assuming I remember.
Chris
There's always that.
Chris Perez says, cool hippie, they are great little cars. Trouble says, try random. So four, you get four.
Okay.
With random.
I don't know how many cars are here, but I might have to have 3 digits. 001, 002, 003, like that. The reason the Volkswagen vans were first on the list was because I made a page for a client, and it was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, so they came out like that. You know, as the first ones, no matter what year they are.
Just someone like saying the mix as well.
Okay, so that's 5.
Mm-hmm.
5 votes. We should have put a poll up.
I don't know if I can
do the YouTube thing. Well, it's too late now.
Papa says dark chocolate raspberry found it. Raspberries. Chris says I'm calling it a night, folks. After midnight here. Have a good night. A good week, everybody. Thanks
good
for
night,
being
Chris.
Here, Chris. Fernando says enjoy some Philama cookies and dark chocolate ice cream.
Okay.
Enjoying. Sorry.
Yes.
Strebler says that's not a bad Mustang. I never understand the hate.
Well, in the U.S., this was an economy car. 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder was the majority of them. Even the V8 they used wasn't a very powerful V8. It's a completely different thing in Mexico. This was Mexico's pony car, and it didn't matter if they changed the body style. It still had the V8 with the manual under the hood. Well, I mean the V8 under the hood, and a lot of them were manuals.
Pablo says, I'd be fine if I was a Flaco. You still be called Flaco.
CD Burlock, I have dark chocolate morsels for cookies.
Mm.
Well, eat them. Don't worry about the cookies. If Mrs. Spec brings chocolate chips in the house, they don't last. They're all mine.
Mm-hmm. I have to tell him, like, if I'm cooking with chocolate, I have to be like, I'm using this chocolate for cooking. Do not eat it because I'm using it. You can eat the leftovers.
Then it disappears anyway.
It belongs to my folks had a Matador 4-door, like 1975. Needless to say, it didn't score much in high school. I didn't score much in high school. Why not?
If they only want you for the car, they're not worth having.
Yeah. Douglas says the Mustang hatred is for the drivers in the U.S.
That's for the newer ones that hit everybody. But he's talking about people hating the Mustang too because they think it's based on a Pinto.
Douglas says we were used to low horsepower at that point. 200 was amazing power.
Yes. But you don't need any more than that.
Joey?
Where are you going when you could only drive 55 miles an hour? 55 miles an hour.
Chris Bailey says small. Silverlock says Reese's morsels too.
I'm not a fan of that.
Pablo says twin turbo 302.
You could turbo anything.
I think Joey is upset that I'm eating.
Joey, you don't eat that. She gave you eggs this morning from her plate, so shut up.
I have yogurt, I forgot.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is it old?
No.
We didn't buy it.
No, I haven't.
I have to get in touch with the guy that owns this K5 Blazer. He said he was going to, I talked to him like late last year. He was going to be out of town until January. I wonder if he's back because it's a pretty good price on this if it's still available. For a 1978 round eye K5 Blazer that runs well, has air conditioning, all that stuff. and it's in Veracruz, so it's right there near the port. I don't think it's in the port city, but it's right there, close enough.
Pablo says that Mustang earlier looked like it was a twin turbo.
Anything's possible, Biofly. There was one that I saw. The guy wanted like 195,000 pesos for a Fox Body Mustang, and I looked through the description, and that one was a turbocharged car. It looks like he put a lot of money into it.
You know what it tastes like? Like a wafer from communion.
I wouldn't know, and I'm never gonna find out. And why would you want to eat that? A wafer from communion.
It doesn't taste like anything. Hey, ¿a dónde?
Exactly. It doesn't taste like anything, so why are you eating it?
Because it's munchable. And it fills me up. And it's 30 calories.
Joey, we're working. Nobody's here to pet you. Did it freeze?
Yeah. Okay. I haven't changed
the
picture.
chat. Chat, I mean.
Sorry. Okay. You see that?
Yes?
Okay.
You should have capitalized it.
No. See? But says before I started working at the garage, there was a kid that drove his Mustang without a master cylinder into the building, wanting brake work. Unbelievable.
How did he stop the car?
With his feet like
emergency brake?
With his feet like for instance.
With the emergency brake? I've had to do that. In a Fox Body. A brown Fox Body Creppy. Eating salad in a bag.
Like from a
Eating
bag?
salad from a bag.
I don't trust those. If I buy any kind of greens in a bag or in a container or anything like that, I always disinfect them. Even if they say that they're disinfected, I disinfect them anyway.
People have gotten really sick eating those.
Yeah, and I actually gotten I work at I'm not gonna say where, but I work at a not pharmacy, but medical related like a medical related location. And I got a call once from a person that had but it was spinach or something. They opened a fresh bag of spinach, and it was already pre-washed, and it had a frog in it, a live frog. So they ate it too. I mean, they ate it without noticing.
Vibe said he used the building to stop the car.
Oh, okay, cool. That works.
Yeah, but it's not. It's the owner's building.
I've heard some of those bag salads have worms and bugs in them. Yeah, live. Dean says a quick brown fox had an owner who jumped a plastic food bag.
Hello, Dean.
Oh, hi, Dean.
She's just reading.
Sorry. Uncle Doug says, I agree, but I'm lazy when it comes to food. Widow. Yeah, but you can get really sick. Yeah, and it doesn't take that long to rinse the salad. Disinfect the salad.
I'm not sure I would do. I don't eat salad anyway. But
Malcolm says no one cared to ask stupid ass how he got there because he was not well liked after that.
Was he a customer, or was it a mechanic pulling the car in for other work? It was a customer's car that he drove all the way there with no brakes. Can't really say anything. We lost the brakes on the brown Capri on the highway.
Yeah, but we lost them. We didn't
And I stopped with the emergency brake. It was an automatic. I could downshift and then just stop the rest of the way with the emergency brake till we got to the mechanic's house. Had a lot of trouble with the brakes on that car for some reason.
We didn't use his house to stop it.
No, I knew how to stop it.
Chevrolet says, and there's something wrong with that, Vile. He belongs says, Doug, sorry for your loss, bro. Buffett says the cops had a few words with him. Dean says, sounds like the rod falling off the fat cat at KFC. What are you talking about, Dean?
And then he puts McDonald's fries up there. Ooh, popcorn. We have popcorn here.
Oh, yes. Uncle Doug says thanks to the long. Uno's here, and he's still going. Why are you still
Uno.
going? There's no game right now. Is there a game? I don't care. I don't
No
care.
way. It's what, 11 o'clock where you are? 12 o'clock?
This guy says I reserved for you last time. Dean says, Uncle Doug, you certainly aren't random.
There's always canned food, Uncle Duck, like beefaroni, chili, stuff like that. Stuff I can't get here. They don't sell any of that here. If I had like Van Camp's pork and beans or B&M baked beans, I'd eat that like every other day.
Bobflex says the customer drove his car into the shop looking for service. The master cylinder was gone. He took it off, tried to service it himself.
So how did he not kill himself on the way to the shop?
Trouble says the kid was just trying to get his car fixed. Uncle Doug says thanks, folks. Una says Vegas just beat Colorado Factory 3.
Las Vegas? In hockey? That must be embarrassing.
This is welcome, Uncle Doug. Uncle Doug says meat and potatoes on the barbie. Oh, okay.
That'll work.
21. Bobflex is 22-year-old kid. Dean says
dumb as a rock.
Dean says pan kangaroo meat. Kangaroo. Miss Belly says I have to go get some shut-eye. Good people, I will chat with you later.
Good to see you here, Grease Belly.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And if any of you want to see Mrs. Spec dancing, you have to become a member. I'm going to promote that. And then we have another video coming out because money was donated last week, Uncle Duck. And we promised to buy Mrs. Spec a hot dog and a cup of corn, which is what we did last night. The video was only like 41 minutes long.
Only.
So, yeah, that'll be coming out soon. It's being edited right now. Mrs. Spec is adding a whole bunch of subtitles for all the Spanish that was spoken in it from the guy that was making the hot dogs and us, so you guys can understand what is being said. But I was surprised. Usually, the place that we go to closer to us, they just have it's a hot dog wrapped in bacon, just put it in the bun, and then put a whole bunch of stuff on it. But this guy had hot dogs and sausage with a hot dog in it, which he called a pregnant one.
Gato.
And then he had hot dogs wrapped in flour tortillas, and that was called something else. And then he had another one. And
Mira, pues.
If I could eat that stuff, I would, but I can't. So yeah.
You could. In a plate.
All I could eat is the hot dog. I can't eat the bread or any of that stuff.
You could eat the sausage and the bacon.
Oh my god.
I almost choked.
TK's Garage got a membership. TK's Garage got a membership. So I'm guessing that people don't have to be here in the chat in order to get the thing. Thank you very much, Uncle Duck.
Thank you so much, Uncle Duck.
So people don't have to. You know what this means? More people are going to see you dance.
No.
So I'm guessing people don't have to be here in order to receive the thing, because TK is never here. He's a subscriber, but he's never here. I'm gonna have to tell him. I'll tell him tomorrow. TK, you were given a. You're a member of my channel now.
So he's obligated to come and watch you dance.
Yeah, I'll tell him that too. He's really busy with what he's doing though, with all of the new Stellantis vehicles coming out. Stray Bullet says there's no food value in corn, Mrs. Spec.
There is too? How dare you? What kind of Mexican are you?
Stray Bullet, it's not only the corn, she puts a whole bunch of stuff in the corn to go along with it. If you become a member, you'll see it in the video.
Wait, I just missed a bunch of messages. Fernando says I can't find B&M Spec beans anymore. Just Bush. Firefly
I'll
says
go for Bush.
Firefly says in your 20s, one is gifted with the gift of temporary invincibility. It gets revoked later. Chris Billy says you're welcome. Good to see everybody. Have a great night. Chris Billy says good night, Billy. Firefly says later, Chris. Um, Dean says you too, Chris. Then Uncle Doc sent 10 Mexican Spec gift merchants.
Read off the names.
But they are different than their actual names, right? Nate Snowstorm, TK's Garage, Fly Chomperfly. I don't think Uncle Duck is the one. Uncle Duck, let's check it out. Colleen Tebow,
Colleen is now a member of my channel too. Okay.
Ford Tech Life.
At least I know who the subscribers are because they never come in here.
Barclays says only a fool fears nothing. Ancient Klingon proverb. Lucas PBF Cabello. Chevy Dad 1320. Chevy says there's no food value in corn mistake. How dare you? George Estrada. Mrs. Stramatos. Charles Nam 1. Live Yourself says Santa Uncle Duck. Uncle Duck says there it goes. Welcome for sure. Oh my god. Okay. There we go. Hippie Long says, when I was 13, I worked in a garage under scrutiny until the boss's son totaled a car in the working bay after I told him no. Dean says, Mrs. Traumatos, it's great to see you again. I don't think she's here though. Shovel says, I don't even recognize any of those names. I mean, neither.
No.
But I don't think they're the actual. I think they're their channel's name, not their.
No, it's the.
Is it? Because
yeah.
I don't recognize any of them.
It says at in front of it, so yes, it's their handle. Just like they would come in here.
I don't know.
It's not the channel name; it's their handle. They only go by handles now.
I don't recognize any of them.
Yeah, they're not even lurkers, Vileply. They're just people. They're just subscribers to the channel, apparently.
Yeah. So it says, yeah, Uncle Doc says, I like this channel. It's organic. Thank you.
Then we should charge more because it's organic. That's what they. That's what they do at the store, right? Here's your eggs. If you want organic eggs, they're 30% more. Aren't all eggs organic? I don't think they're made in a laboratory.
Dean says, I've known Mrs. T for a long time. Great choices.
I wonder if they get notified that they're members.
Yeah, they get notified. People long says, I remember my first Motor LH threads on lug nuts.
So do I, and the car's sitting in my backyard.
Cityboard says, how are the memberships picked? Random?
Yeah, it's random. I don't know how it happens either.
Yeah. Dean says Mexican Spectre supplies a great square meal. Barclay says only the lurkers get free membership, lol. Uncle Doc says no idea. I was hoping for the gang that's here.
I don't know how that works at all.
Yeah.
And there's nobody that can tell me how it works because nobody else knows either.
Dean says the is from cousin Mike's channel. Dean says Landon. People long says, does membership give you a discount or from a car, Mrs.
Sure, I can do that. We'll figure it out.
Uncle Doc says you can click on the ad name to see their page.
Yeah.
Uncle Doc says yes, good idea. Dean says all the way from Alaska, Mrs. Spec. Trouble says more fraud. Valplay says I hate the organic advertising. What's fraud?
I don't know. It's just a way to ask more money. Oh, well, we didn't use this and we didn't use that, or whatever they did, how, making it. All eggs are organic. They all come out from the same place. Yeah, it's been Memorial Day on the East Coast for 24 minutes. Hippie Long says, Happy Memorial Day, you East Coasters.
Joshua says, do I see a partner has on the door of that car?
Barn door hasp? I don't think so.
Want to put the big picture back?
Yes.
You tell me when.
And to you get to the rear of it. If there is a rear of it. Unless you can clarify, Josh, on the driver's door, perhaps the latch needs service.
On the
Driver's door. Well, it'll get to it again. I'm looking at smaller. I'm looking at smaller versions of it, so it's hard for me to see.
Firefly is a middle coaster.
You're a no coaster.
Ian says, I could like orgasmic or tantric advertising. Then Josh Homan says, on the driver's door, perhaps the latch needs service. He belongs with Dean, that's just card advertising. Firefly says, yes, and make the drink orgasmic. Advertising. Pergola says, I can't find platypus eggs anymore.
Did you ever?
Jobber says, you can't successfully grow anything on a semi-large scale without using this or that.
No, because animals would come in and get it, or bugs, or whatever. Oh, he means inside the door. There's like a latch there. Well, that would be something I have to ask a question about. Why is that on the door? That should not be there.
Well, there's this military family, grateful and maternal goes pre-revolutionary war. More girls are certified daughters of the revolution.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I see it. Maybe it vibrates too much, and that was their fix.
Yeah, but then you have if you take it off, there's holes in the door and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if it's vibrating too much, there's a reason it's vibrating. Yeah. You don't have the rubber on there, or there's something wrong with the engine. There's always red flags you have to look for on these.
Mm-hmm. He belongs to takes a lot of them for an omelet. Same with the what are they called? The small birds. The small birds.
Sparrows?
No, there were small birds that you get eggs from.
Robins? Robin eggs? What small birds do you get eggs from?
I'm a segundo.
Yeah, Biofly. It looks like a slide lock.
Yeah, it does.
But it shouldn't be there. Dean says beaver pudding. And Biofly flinches. Keep the carjackers out, Stray Bullet says.
Maybe.
And Barracuda says Venezuelan beaver cheese.
Quail eggs. Yes, Biofly. Quail eggs. See, quail.
Highway robbers and all that. Well, if you just lock your doors, they're not getting in anyway. But who knows who owns this or what kind of area they're in or anything. Quail eggs.
I just said.
I know. I'm trying to picture a quail egg. Why would
They're like tiny. They're like this size.
I don't know. Do people eat those?
Yes. It takes a lot of eggs to make an omelet.
Mm-hmm. We'll just stick with chickens. The eggs that we buy at Walmart, the certain brand, usually has pretty big eggs in it. They're pretty big, has a lot of yolk and everything, a lot of the egg white in there. From the local store, they're a bit smaller, so it takes more eggs to fill up the pan. So we'll just stick with the ones from Walmart.
It says, very good idea, that's the ticket. Venezuelan beaver cheese.
This is a real Magnum, which was the it came after the Super Bees. Really hard to find one for sale, but this one is an automatic, and most people don't want it.
Papa says, I had quail for a short time. It was so the wife could show the kids at school. We let them run away afterwards. I was thinking at some point to have quail. They are much easier to keep than chicken. but they're also not as hardy as chicken, and they don't last as long. They last like 2 years or something like that. So
They'll last less than that way if our cat attacks them.
no, you have to keep them in a pen. In a pen, you can't keep them loose.
I'm sure they'll love that.
They actually do because the quail are like really skittish. They don't like to be outside. They like to be in caves.
And then Vanjie will be right in front, like that. CD Burlock. Do quail eggs have spots?
Yes, yes it is. Arturo says, "It got quail here. I've heard they're delicious. I've never had any. I would like to have some." Papa says, "I don't want to keep birds in cages all their lives so I can have tiny eggs."
No.
Fair, but like you don't have a choice with quail. You could have. I do know of a girl that keeps them like pets, and she has an apartment, so she keeps them in sometime in their cages and sometimes lives in the apartment. And because she has like four and cleans after them, so it's like not a big deal. No, you wouldn't be able to have them if you want them for pets, really. Mm, but because chickens produce more, yeah,
Yes, a
yeah.
lot more and much bigger too.
But they also eat more. They need more space, and it's like whatever.
Yeah.
He belongs says it takes like 60 quail to feed a big party. They're snack size. Yes, they're snack size. Papa says quail, the snack size bird. Yep. Uncle Doug says got wild quail living in the blackberry patch.
Uncle Duck just happens to have a blackberry patch.
I want a blackberry patch. Dean says ain't no party like the West Coast party he belongs. Triple says what about pheasant? I've never had pheasant.
I'm not a fancy eater and don't plan on starting. So I don't try food just to try food. I have to know what it is. As you know, Dean, I'm not a fan of kiwi.
I have.
And it was that same guy that was at Epcot Center with me. He was the one that put the kiwi in my mouth. The kiwi fruit in my mouth.
I have cubes here of amaranth with honey and peanuts, and he doesn't want to try it. And they're so
no,
good.
I do not need that stuff in my teeth.
They don't stay on your teeth.
Yeah, everything sticks in my teeth.
No.
Yeah. We don't need to be talking about snacks.
No, I don't know. I think if they give you $5, I think you should try them.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Fire meeting.
Dean says,
so good,
gooseberry patch.
Huh? Gooseberry.
Gooseberry patch.
I've never tried like the weird
and
berries.
Dean says it's okay to exchange pheasantries.
Pheasant.
Yep.
Kind of like the little bar that I buy that has like peanuts and it's like stuffed with honey and stuff. It's kind of like that.
Fox body Mustang coupe, Mexico only, Aztec wheels. You can have it all, Stray Bullet. No problem with me.
Well, so I like it with. Kiwi.
You can have it all. They sell it here. It's just not coming into my house.
I know a person that like buys golden kiwi, whatever. I don't know the difference between kiwis, but buys golden kiwi and eats it with the skin. I don't know if I could.
I'm gonna have to give him a call.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I should. I don't think he'll answer it, but I think I should call him.
What we have here that I have not had and I really, really, really want to is what you guys would know as dragon fruit. Pero is the fruit that is in the cactus. In the cactus. I really want that. The red one specifically. The red. I've seen the green ones, but I want the red ones. What? You heard that?
Were you doing your job?
I heard that.
As long as I don't hear a crash, I don't care.
Dean says that's like being shot gun, Mr. Inspector. How awful for him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He belongs to his
And I
biology.
still haven't forgotten after all these years. It's been 40 years at least.
Butterfly said, no, he belongs to the biologist, but go full turkey. The best bird pets we ever had were ducks. Great watch animals. I
They
don't
don't
like.
last very long
I
though.
don't like ducks.
Ducks don't last very long though.
I don't like ducks. They're really aggressive breeders, and I don't like them. Butterfly says, I hate turkeys. They're very noisy. But I've heard that if you get some turkeys and put them with your flock of hens, with your flock of chickens, they can keep away predators. They can take care of the predators. Silver says, Miguel, you are so like me in many ways. I eat what I like. I don't experiment. Drive the boat, not ski behind it.
Exactly. No broken bones for me. I don't need the problem.
Dean says, especially on Thanksgiving. We do eat turkey on Thanksgiving.
We try. No, we don't.
I don't know on Thanksgiving. No,
On
no, on
Christmas.
Christmas. He belongs says wait. He belongs says Vile. They hate you back.
Then it's
Uncle Doug says cactus jelly. Yum. Places I have switched to duck on Thanksgiving. Very tasty. I've never tried duck.
we have a they don't since Thanksgiving isn't a thing here, nobody makes the turkey. They only make it for Christmas. And we may have to switch to something else or get the turkey and something else because my son gets sick on the turkey every year.
Yeah, he has gotten sick like at least 3 times, 3 years in a row. So I was thinking that if either make him something myself on the side or buy him something else.
Because they did have ribs. They had turkey and then they had ribs too.
Does he enjoy ribs?
I don't know. We'll make him eat it.
No, I just want something else for yourself.
No, he can.
No. I do just want something else for
If the
yourself.
turkey made, there wasn't many other things on the menu that they make that we can have.
Cordon bleu.
No.
You just want something else for yourself.
We can't buy just one for him. You have to buy a whole plate, and I can't eat that because it has breading on it.
No, cordon bleu doesn't have breading.
Sure, it does.
No, cordon bleu doesn't have breading. But does cordon bleu have breading? Answer me. The Bergola says I was delivered to my mother and father by a store. Ooh, cool. Tribula says I have an all-time quince tree. I know that you hate that Mexican. It tastes terrible when it's raw off of the tree.
I don't know what that is.
Neither do I. Dean says, nice Butterfly. Butterfly says, I don't like my ducks. Keep digging up the yard when it rains. Yep. He belongs says, I fought a rooster at age 7 after being warned. It kicked my ass on face. Yep.
I don't see how the when you.
They have really sharp talons.
I don't care. You kick him in the head. There's roosters.
He was 7.
There's roosters in my backyard every morning. They come in, they fly into my yard and
they're underfed.
They're looking for bugs and stuff. And one has not tried to challenge me yet. He would definitely lose.
They're underfed and afraid. Dean says, you sure it wasn't a crane, Barracuda? Butterfly says, duck is nice and fatty. Use a drip pan and orange sauce on it afterwards. Barracuda says, no, they said it was a stork. Cerebro says, one thing different, I live in one city all my life. Me too. I've never moved from the city. Dean says, George Foreman Grill, Butterfly. Butterfly says, one duck will serve 3 people. Ooh.
That depends who the people are, Firefly.
Fair. Mr. Spec will eat a whole turkey by himself. A whole breast of turkey.
The white meat, yeah.
A whole breast of turkey by himself. Butterfly says, Dean, he belongs to how big of a city? Uncle Doug says, rooster football.
Yeah, you can punt them just like a football. I don't see how. I mean, a 7-year-old maybe, but I don't see like Sam Crack runs away from the roosters on his property. I don't understand it at all.
They have really sharp talons.
I don't care. Cut me once, you're getting kicked in the head. I wouldn't feel it anyway until later. I can't tell you how many times I've cut myself and not even know it. Not even know it until much later. I don't feel anything.
Butterfly says duck is all dark meat.
That's not good. I don't like dark meat. Even the breast? Maybe that's why Daffy Duck is such a pain in the butt. There's no white meat in him.
Because I'm curious about eating ducks. I've seen too many of them hanging around sewage ponds.
If that's all they have,
Do you eat fish?
can't really blame them.
And do you know what chickens eat?
Don't wreck anything for people.
Buffalo says, try a Rhode Island Red, Max. Spec, they're pretty uppity.
Yes, but the only thing they can do is peck at you.
No.
And by the time they get their talons up, they're already off balance.
They fly at you with the talons out.
They fly like they can fly. Best they can do is get up on the wall from the ground. That's as far as they go. Trey Bullet says nobody really uses quince anymore. Sometimes you see it in fancy section of the grocery store as jam or jelly. Never tried it. I still have a bad taste in my mouth. Why would you need to try it? There's so many other flavors that people already know what it is.
Okay, on the next members video, I'm gonna lock Mr. Speck in a cage with a rooster.
Go for it. We're gonna eat him for dinner.
You don't need roosters for it.
I don't care. Chicken is chicken.
No.
Dean Stevens said, it's good for them, Barracuda. Oxygen ponds are such romantic places, especially the tomatoes. That makes sense, Dean.
Dame agua.
Wildfly says, only certain breeds are combat effective to me. The game birds are the most vicious.
Mm-hmm.
So these things are just hanging around. I see one rooster go after another one, or goes after a chicken or something. Goes after a
They don't
hen.
even fight themselves. I never see them fight themselves.
But they come into my backyard, they're gonna have problems. They want to challenge me. There's nothing really for them to come after me about, because I don't think they protect young, do they?
Yes.
The hen does, but I don't
they
think
do.
the rooster do.
They protect the young, and they're supposed to. They're supposed
Well,
to.
they don't here, because there's little chicks all over my backyard all the time. In my '65 Buick sitting out there, there's somebody cut the roof off to make it a convertible, so the trunk is right there. There's a hen in there with her eggs in the trunk of my car, which we need to go cover the Fury and open that. Move all the emergency lights.
Broccoli says no one raises game chickens for their eggs, you know? Yeah, and there's actually a guy that raises fighting chickens, fighting roosters, really close to our home. In the Leyva, right here. And Dean says the human waste system doesn't kill tomato seeds. Broccoli says, yep, roosters are still smarter than a human. They're not adult human.
Yeah.
Barracuda says boosters.
They haven't come after me yet, but he wouldn't get very far. I have what you call alpha energy.
Ándale, pues.
I do. Why do you think all the dogs around here come to me to be scratched and everything? Are you going to mark your
territory for me?
I can.
Yeah, okay.
I do mark my territory out there.
Okay.
I do mark my territory out there.
You said it. It belongs as you see the fat electrician show on the war duck. It killed a Jap rooster in a battle. What?
I don't know. Ducks are fighting roosters? Or is there something I'm not understanding?
You see the fat electrician show on the war duck. It killed a Jap rooster in a battle. I'm confused. Did you steal Hippie Long's chat? Rob says, are brainless and mean.
Humans? Some, yes. I'm not eating it. I just don't like cleaning up after them. They're not mine. They belong to the neighbor, but he doesn't have them in cages. They're all over the place. They've wrecked the paint on my Durango. They've wrecked the paint on my 83.
I don't know why he asked him if it's not getting the eggs.
I don't know. The 83 Spirit, which had a really nice paint job on it. The rest of my cars don't have nice paint, so. But I do see bird shit on the Fury, and that pisses me off, which means they were on the roof because there's bird shit on the driver's door. The only way it could have gotten there.
It belongs to little dinosaurs.
Yep. But I don't give them an inch. Like I told you guys before, when we walk over to the neighborhood store over here, we have to walk down our block, and there's two dogs that are in front of one of the neighbors' houses, a male and a female. And the female is the one that will chase bicycles and stuff like that. And I'll come walking up to her, and she won't. I mean, she doesn't come after me, but she doesn't even like pay attention until I start speaking. Then she starts wagging her tail and puts her head up to be scratched. But I faced off with a pit bull out here. There was a little dog that was in heat in two houses away here, and this pit bull came over at night, and a male, and he started walking over, and I stepped in front of him and stopped him, and I'm not telling the story right. I mean, he didn't come close to me, but I stepped into his path and growled at him a little bit, and he turned around and went the other way.
Did you growl at him?
Yes. Of course I did.
So what is this? If my neighbor's chickens come onto my property, they belong to me at that point.
They roost in my trees and mess up the backyard, the front yard, everything.
Extra is here.
Hello, Extorag.
They say, okay, just saw this on my feed. Had a 77 hatchback, 4-speed, gold, slower than a nice tequila.
77 hatchback, what? Which one are you talking about?
Rafael says, oh yeah, never yield to smaller animals.
Supposedly pit bulls are, aggressive and everything, but he's on my territory. This is my area. And like I said, when you have alpha energy, especially with dogs, they don't challenge. Oh, Mustang 2, okay. Did you have a four cylinder in that?
Rafael says, some Dutch people I knew that lived in Holland in World War II didn't have much to eat. They netted sparrows and ate them. Yeah, I heard a story.
Wasn't a lot of meat on those.
I heard a story of a family. They actually have a statue of it. I heard a story of a family in World War II that they had a cat, and they were like debating if they should eat the cat or not. But the cat, because they didn't have literally anything to eat, but the cat will go out and catch mice and bring it in, and that was the only thing that it had to eat. Yeah. So the cat saved their lives by bringing mice in. Uncle Doug says, got a pink nose butterscotch pit bull terrier. Ripley, 2 fits from a bad dog owner off lease. Off lease or off leash? Doug says, yeah, 4-cylinder. What a dog.
Yes, I remember those over there. But in Mexico, only a 302 was under the hood of a Mustang 2, including 1974. I have spoken to a guy that worked on the project for the Mexican Mustang in that year, and he said that since Mexico didn't require any emissions on the engine, it fit in the 74 without doing any modifications whatsoever. It would not fit in the 74 in the US because the smog pump and everything on the front of the engine would hit the firewall or the radiator. Well, not the firewall, but the radiator support. So Mexico did have the V8, the United States did not. Even though people in the US don't believe it, that the Mexican car did come from the factory with a 302 under the hood in 1974.
Uncle Douglas fights with stitches. Oh, that sucks. It's pitbull.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
2 fights. Oh, 2 fights. It said fits. Okay. Here's another car they didn't sell in the US. 1985 Ford Thunderbird base model with a factory manual transmission in it. They only use the manual transmission in the turbo coupe 4 cylinders in the US. So this one, it's got a 3.8 liter V6 with a dual snorkel under the hood. The engine could be popped out of this and a 302 put in it, and you would have a 302 stick shift Thunderbird that looks like it came from the factory. This is a really cool car. It's got digital dash. It's got Twilight Sentinel, which is really weird for a Mexican car. It's just a really nice car. Barracuda. Yes, they said cats and dogs were on the menu too. Well, if you need to stay alive, stray bullet. People would build traps on their houses during World War II, Barry. Turag. They were so bad in the U.S. I would have loved the V8. But the V8 they had over there was smogged out and didn't get out of its own way either. It just used a lot of gas. You basically got the same power you got with the Pinto engine. So yeah, but the engines here, there was no smog on them, nothing to slow them down for a long time because the gas crunch never hit Mexico. So they never did anything. They never put 4 cylinders, never put 6 cylinders. Every Mustang in Mexico from 1964 and a half to 1984 when they stopped production was a V8. They never sold anything less than that. And when Mexico outlawed the V8 for the 85 models, they said, no, we're not making any more. We're not making any more. We're not putting a smaller engine in the cars. Uncle Duck, I can't type sometimes. I can't type most of the time. There's certain words that I cannot type. My fingers, if I write pictures, it is Picutres. Every time. My fingers will not do any other words than that. Vilefly's going to bed. Good night, Vilefly.
Good night. Thank you for being here.
Turek says T-Birds in that area were so nice. Buddy had a Mercury XR7 of that vintage. Yeah. I had an 88 with a V8 in it that was a really good highway car. Really nice car. Very comfortable. Has all the options. What more could you ask for in a car? I'd rather have the Thunderbird or even the Cougar of that year than the Mark 7 with all of the extra electrical stuff and all the stuff on the dash and everything. Is not necessary.
Where are you?
CD Birdlock is saying, I had that engine, 3.8 V6 and a Cougar, garbage. I agree with that. We had that in the brown Mercury Capri that we had, and I had to rebuild the engine twice just from letting it sit in the backyard 6 months after I rebuilt it the first time. So I'm not a fan of the engine, but since it was 1985, the V8s were banned. That's the only engine Ford had to put in there. But they made it interesting with the stick shift transmission.
Are there sparrows in America or Mexico? There are
sparrows everywhere.
But Uncle Doc says, have not heard of sparrow here in the U.S.
Really? Look out your door.
I don't know about the U.S., but there are sparrows in Mexico.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Triple says, bio. Bargula says, there's zillions of them here.
Yeah. Here's another car that I would love to have for myself. This is a 1986, it's a 1988 Oldsmobile. This was called actually a Chevrolet Cutlass here. They didn't use the name Sierra, but this is a Eurosport model with a 2.8 liter V6 under the hood and a 4-speed manual transmission, which they never did in the U.S. in an Oldsmobile anyway. This is a really neat looking car with the little fin and the wheels and the fender, the ground effects and stuff. This is a really nice car. Hippie lawn, billions of sparrows in the USA and Mexico. Yep. Barracuda. Blackbirds? Uncle Duck. Yes, the bird I was thinking. Cars. Is there a sparrow car? No, I don't know. Hippie lawn. Yes, blackbirds and ravens. Doesn't Adam Carolla always talk about crows training crows to do your bidding, to watch out for your house, like be an alarm system. Nobody would expect it. Nobody would expect a crow to be diving at them from the sky to protect your house. The later versions of this was which much more ostentatious, that said Eurosport on the side, and they had 2 doors and 4 doors. Then it had the 3.1 V6 with the 5-speed manual. But this would be the perfect car to daily drive, to drive across the country, and be a forever car because it's got the stick shift. The weak part of these cars was the transmission, and this car would last forever being a manual. Not like I'm trying to sell it or anything, but it is in really nice. Look at the interior. Original seat, nice steering wheel. It's got the international steering wheel on it. Nice dash. Very nice car. Very nice.
Blackbirds. What are blackbirds? Like ravens?
They're birds that are black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chonates? ¿Queremos chonates?
Blackbirds are not small. That 2.8 would get great gas mileage. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. And it's in really nice condition, which is rare to find one of these.
City Bullock says that 2.8 will get great mileage for the car. Uncle Doug says,
Is there an echo in here?
Mira, tú también me lo haces. No estés molestando. Uncle Doug says, crows are smart. Yes, ravens can speak. Seen one.
Here are two 89 Celebrity. In 89, they went to a 5-speed manual in these, and this is the last year for the Celebrity because I have a client that wants one. He's in Connecticut, and he would come over to Arizona to pick it up. But he doesn't like this red one because he says it looks a little beat. We could take the tint off, put stock wheels on it, no big deal. But it doesn't look beat to me. I don't know. I'm not sure what he's talking about. And then the white one after this, he says he likes it, but he doesn't want another white one. So maybe I'll tell him we can paint the top part any color he wants.
Bardula says, we don't have ravens or crows, but a relative called rook. They have crows in Australia. He belongs to scrub jays, hummingbirds, mockingbirds. Yeah, we have hummingbirds. I don't know about the other ones. I don't actually know many of the names of the birds because we give them their own name here in Mexico. So I wouldn't know.
I don't see what he says is beat about this car. The dash is nice. Seats are nice.
For the I forgot a type of crow here, magpies.
Yeah, we've seen the cartoons. Heckle and Jekyll. I don't know why he's saying this car is beat. It looks good to me. Take the tint off the windows and
Uncle Doug says tuxedo birds, magpies.
I'll talk to this guy. This car does not look beat to me. Original interior still.
We have carpenter birds. Carpenter birds? How do you call them?
Woodpeckers?
Yeah, woodpeckers.
Yes, we've seen them in front of the house.
We have woodpeckers here.
Uncle Doug says dings in the fender, miss.
In front of
There
the
were
house?
dings in the fender? I didn't even see that. I'll tell him we can paint this car any color you want to on the top. Just leave the white at the bottom. Paint it any color you want. We'll paint it red. A white with a red interior.
You see them in front of the house?
Yes, we've seen one out at the tree over here. A woodpecker. Maybe that was a hummingbird.
There's a huge difference.
Well, whatever.
Barcula says they have pelicans in Australia, but not New Zealand. Uncle Doug says yes.
Not many people want to jump over to New Zealand.
Trouble says maybe he means it's worn out and rattled.
Well, he doesn't know because we've only seen the pictures.
Barcula says I like birds.
That makes one of us.
Uncle Doug says same Barry. See, that makes two.
Okay, that makes two of you. I have to figure out what I'm going to show next week because there's not much that I haven't shown already on these cars.
Silverlock says that's like my old 1990 Buick Century, body-wise, not the front and back.
It's the same car. All of them were the same in the middle of the body. They just had different fascia in the front and different taillights.
Uncle Doc says clean arm charger.
It really is. And it says it's from Hidalgo or maybe Guerrero. They both start with H on the plate. Hard to see. But yeah, but to sell a two-wheel drive Ram Charger to anybody in the US, it's very difficult because everybody wants four-wheel drive. I've started my own Facebook group of the carryalls from Mexico because there's a Facebook group, the B100 group, that I was posting them on, the Fords anyway. And, had people asking me about it, but he has stopped posting my posts for whatever reason. He's the guy that's down in Florida. His name is his YouTube channel is Ford Era. That's his group. And I guess he doesn't like me telling him what a schmuck he is for not knowing what he's talking about.
Well, nobody would.
He did a whole video on a Mexican carryall that he brought over there, and he's giving all kinds of wrong information about how it was made, and he said parts were sent from the U.S. to have it. No, it wasn't. U.S. had nothing to do with it. So I guess that's why he's not posting it. So I'm gonna do a Facebook group for Mexican Mustangs, Mexican Beetles, Mexican Combis, and when I get one, I'm gonna post it in there. First, I'm gonna Mexican Mustangs for sale. Other people can post in there too, but it's gonna be my go-to to post the cars for sale.
It's gonna be a lot of work.
No, it's not really.
Yes.
It's just an extra place for me to post.
Yeah, but you have to keep an eye on everyone else.
Yes.
Silverlock says mine had a 3.3 liter V6. Uncle Doc says yes, never happened here. Barcuda says we have a native hawk, the Australasian hawk. Yeah, we have a native eagle. We have a Mexican eagle. Uncle Doc says red-tailed hawks all over. Had some mate and race affair in my backyard one year. Tribble says plenty of people would like a two-wheel drive Ram Charger here. I would bet.
Well, there are two-wheel drive Ram Chargers there that Dodge sold, but people don't want to pay the kind of price that, with all the shipping and everything, even though they're really nice here, because you could get a limited that has the really nice leather and velour interior, with all the options and everything, with the exception of cruise control, because that wasn't a thing in Mexico. But they're very, very nice trucks here. But people here are asking a lot more for them than people would want to pay over there, because they're Ram Chargers. A lot of people here won't buy them because they use a lot of gas. There are 360s under the hood, and people just don't want to spend gas for them. But that doesn't stop the owners from asking, I don't know, 250,000 pesos for a Ram Charger. And it's just too much money. They are really good driving trucks with two-wheel drive, though. And somebody went pretty crazy with the Porsche theme on this Beetle. The steering wheel is Porsche. The wheels are Porsche. It says Porsche on the side, like this was a delivery car for the Porsche dealership. But I could not post these pictures because it says down at the bottom of them that the pictures were taken by a photography studio. So they're the owners of the pictures. I cannot post them. But if somebody, I put it on my list on my website, and if somebody asks about it, then I'll
share.
Yeah, then I'll send them pictures or something, but I can't publish them on any of the social media. It's a very nicely done car, inside and out. And if you look at the engine picture, it's kind of weird because it's crooked, it's sideways, but it looks like it has a side draft carburetor because this thing sits on top, sits over the engine, so they couldn't have the carburetor sticking up. See right there that it has a side draft carburetor for some reason. I don't know what that reason is.
Tuberculosis, we don't have eagles, but a very, very long time ago we had the Hast eagle, which has been described as being almost as big as a Cessna. The Cessna?
That's a big freaking eagle. Cessna like the plane?
I'm
Or
assuming.
is there an animal named Cessna over there?
Uncle Doug says, I believe very.
When's the last time you guys saw one of these? Technically, this is a Mercury Sable, but it says Ford Taurus on the back because in Mexico it's a Ford Taurus.
Mm.
I've always liked these wheels, the mesh wheels that they put on cars, like the Pontiac GTAs and this one. Mrs. Spec does not like cleaning them,
No.
but I like the way they look.
Yeah, because you don't clean them.
No, that's your job.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No, my job is dancing.
That's your new job. You and Mopar K can dance all you want, bringing as many um, subscribers as possible, but they better buy cars.
Ah, bueno. Tuberculosis are a Piper Cherokee. Sorry. City Bullock says the market for a two-door Ram Chargers might be street racers in the USA.
They're a kind of a heavy vehicle to race them, honestly.
Josh Homan says just yesterday afternoon.
Do you see in this picture right where it says Mercury on the front bumper? There's supposed to be a cover over that says Ford. That came from the factory. They just glued a piece of whatever on it that says Ford, but apparently it's been gone for a while. Yeah, I know, Josh. You saw it yesterday. Okay, so when was the last time you saw before yesterday?
Uncle Doug says crazy makes combos. I love this.
It's got really low miles on it too. It's only got like 103,000 kilometers on it,
Barracuda says
which is a little over 60,000 miles.
Barracuda says we have a native falcon.
Okay, are you still talking about birds or cars?
Birds.
It looks like somebody fixed the seat, the bottom part of the seat, just put a flat piece of vinyl or leather in there or something. So obviously the seat was torn. It does have a tear right there. But I always stayed away from these cars because of the transmissions. Everybody knows that.
Barry, we will always win. Mexico, we will always win because we have the axolotl. So there you go. Josh Roman says many years ago. The Borlaxes try using Dawn in a spray bottle, diluted of course, to clean rims.
I don't really have rims to clean.
Uncle Doc says yes, but fix them poorly.
Well, I was always told whatever happens with the transmission on a Taurus, it's $2,500. So I stayed the hell away from it at auctions. I'm not going to take a chance.
Barcula says, I think I know what sort of two-door Ram Charger you mean, Silly Borlax. Uncle Doc says, fact.
There's people that have lowered the two-door Ram Chargers, and put like the Cummins diesel in it and stuff, and then taking them to auction and made a bunch of money on them. Today I posted a 1970 Chevy Suburban 4x4 with a 350 4-speed, four-wheel drive works. It's school bus yellow. It's got leather interior that's out of some other vehicle, front and back, that look good and everything. And I went to look at classic.com to see what they're going for, and there's some of them on there. I mean, I realize this is not a 100 point car or truck, but they're $115,000. Some of them are sold for. I'm sure they're resto mods and all kinds of stuff, but this one is right around 25,000. So some of them 4-wheel drive, mostly original. They're in the $30,000 range, $35,000 range, and I posted the link on my post so anybody could go look at that page. But it's a 1970 with a it doesn't have barn doors in the back. It has the tailgate, but the rear window flips up. It does. There's no power window in the tailgate, but they did a really nice job with the truck and the way they did the trim and all kinds of stuff on it. So maybe I'll get somebody on that.
Uncle Doc asked, are they not four-wheel drive?
The Tauruses are, yeah.
Silverlock says, sorry, the 750 horsepower version.
But the transmission, I guess, was different than any other one, and when they were fairly new and on the market, $2,500. That's what it's going to cost to fix one. And I knew people with transmission shops, so it wasn't just people in the street. So I just stayed away from them. Now, having said that, I did buy a new Taurus 1997 dark red wagon that I really liked, even though I bought the car, went and told my girlfriend I'm going to take the girls, and because I had to go what was that, 180 miles away and then come back, and halfway, about 90 miles out, all the lights on the left side of the car burned out. Not burned out, but just went out. And so I'm driving a brand new car, just bought the car that day, and there's no lighting, front or rear, on the left side of the car. No headlight, no marker light, no turn signals, nothing. Well, the turn signals worked, but the lighting didn't. So I got back, I made that trip, didn't get any tickets or anything. Took it to the dealership, and they said that the steering column cut into the wiring harness and cut the wires for the left side of the car. Wonderful. Great quality. But I really did like the car. We ended up trading it in 98 for an Explorer Limited, top of the line, fully loaded, everything. There was less leg room in the back seat in the Explorer than there was in the Taurus wagon. We lost leg room going from the wagon to the Explorer. I think that was a step backwards, not forwards.
Chevrolet says they made two-wheel drive Blazers also, but they are rare. There are probably more two-wheel drive Ram Chargers built, but you rarely see any nowadays.
Yeah, but they never made in the U.S. a two-wheel drive Bronco. Never.
Uncle Doc says Ford front-wheel drive sucks bad.
Yes, it does. They never made a two-wheel drive Bronco, the full-size Bronco. But in Mexico, they made carryalls that were two-wheel drive with a Bronco package, which meant you got the removable roof. It's basically the exact same vehicle as a Bronco with two differences. One is two-wheel drive, and two, the gas inlet is in front of the left wheel and not behind the left wheel. Those are the only two differences. So somebody could take one of those Broncos from here and lower it and really deck it out, with the hydraulic suspension or whatever they do, just like they did the Blazers and the Ram Chargers, and have the only one that was actually from the factory a two-wheel drive. Because I'm sure if they'd done it, they've removed the four-wheel drive system and then lowered them. But these here are two-wheel drive from the factory, and most of them are manuals. The majority are manuals because it's a truck.
Emmanuel?
Huh?
Emmanuel?
Yep, I'm one.
Absolutely. No, Manuel. Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
¿Tienes calor?
A little bit. I'm sweating.
¿Te da el aire?
Hmm?
¿Te da el aire?
I'm feeling it.
Uncle Doc's wife had an Explorer, or AKA Explorer. Wanted to roll every time you jam the brakes. We sold it for a Super Cab Ranger 2002. Still have it, actually.
Good. Yep. Super Cab would be the extra cab. Because it wasn't a four door, was it? I don't think you guys got four-door Rangers. We did, but started in 2003, I think. So in 2 years, well, a little more over 1 year actually, because the 2002s are going to start to be available in September. But I think like a little over 1 more year, and I'll be able to sell four-door Rangers in that body style to the U.S. if I can find a decent one. I mean, right now they're four-door Chevy Loves and four-door D21 Nissans, but never got anybody that said they actually wanted one. But the Ford Ranger, the problem with the Ford Rangers here, it is they're basically four-cylinder stick shift trucks here. They were not luxury trucks in any way. You got what they had, and that was it. Now, of course, when the Ranger came out in 1993, late 92, with the new body style, I went to our local Ford dealer in Las Vegas and told her, I want the purple one. Purple four-door XLT. She couldn't find one because they had just started hitting the dealership. So I ended up with a silver one. Silver extra cab, two-wheel drive Ranger. I don't like silver. Never liked silver. The thing was burning oil. Went back to the dealership, and they said, "Oh, that's normal. It just does it." I said, "Okay, well, I'm glad the warranty's really good." So the odometer went up to, I think, 6,000 and something miles, and just stopped. So I kept driving it. I put a tow dolly behind it, and I would go to California and bring cars back to Vegas to sell, and I would drive it here. I would drive it all over the place. And then I traded it in on a GMC, a full-size GMC pickup, and they didn't care to know anything about the odometer being stuck. They didn't care. So it was out of my hands.
Uncle Doug says no four-door, extra cab drop-down back seats.
Yep, that's what I had with the silver one.
Barracuda says Explorer. Did they come with a V8?
Explorers did, yes.
Uncle Doug says 4.0 4x4 Ranger. Chevrolet says Ford called the extra cab a super cab back then.
The 4.0 was what I had in my Ranger in '93 that burned oil.
Uncle Doug says exactly Chevrolet. Uncle Doug says don't think so, Barry. V6s.
Yes, they had V8s and Explorers. Absolutely, they did.
Chevrolet says they came with a 302 engines for a few years, Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Doug says Explorers had a GT40P V8 302.
Yeah, it was available for most of the years. The '98 we bought had a V8 under the hood. The limited, fully loaded truck.
Uncle Doug says Rangers. No.
No, not Rangers. But it's exactly the same vehicle, so it drops in with no problem. Computers and everything. You just take it from the Ranger, take it from the Explorer, put it right in the Ranger, and it's just like it came from the factory. Nobody wants to do that, though. Are you back?
Sí.
Why are you back, Kat?
Quiere que prendamos el aire.
We're not going to do that.
No podemos limpiar ahorita. Si lo quieres prender tú, quieres dormir conmigo hoy, mañana no vas a poder.
Somebody should buy this truck. It's a very low mile, 4-speed manual in excellent condition, except there's a scratch on the right side. That's about the only thing this thing has.
Uncle Doug says yes, but why a 302 when a 351W fits also? Just saying.
Well, when they were new, probably for smog reasons and for gas mileage reasons. But if you take a 351, if you take the whole drivetrain out of an Explorer with computers and everything, just drop it in the Ranger, then you don't have to do any messing around with it.
Cerebral says Escape had a V6, like a small Explorer.
Yes, it did. Yep. We had one of those too here in Mexico.
Can I post a picture?
I got my no, there's no pictures. I got my 2005 Mustang in April of 2005, and at the same time, my buddy uh, got his wife an Escape in a goldish color, 2005 Escape, fully loaded, as fully loaded as you could get in Mexico. Because I mean, it had power windows and stuff, but not like luxurious interior or anything. And my 2005 Mustang, I told when I heard the body style had changed on the Mustangs, I went to the dealership and I told the lady that we know there that we bought cars from, I said, if you get a dark red 5-speed manual in, I want it. And I guess my buddy had been talking to her and I didn't know anything about it, that the car was coming in, and he went down there and paid her for it and said, hey, let's go down to the dealership because my wife's car had come in. So we went down there and he surprised me and he gave me the Mustang. He paid for it and he gave me the Mustang, and he gave her the Escape. He went through a lot of cars. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Heater and AC options. CD Verloc. Well, it says the 351 is a little bit taller and wider, Uncle Duck. It might not have fit under the factory hood. Yeah, they didn't have a whole lot of extra room for anything with the V8 in there. And then you had to have some kind of air system on it. So, yeah, I don't think. I guess you could put a hood scoop on it.
It won't let me.
You can't post pictures in this chat. Nobody can. Not even the person that owns the channel. Nope. Nope. It is not allowed to put pictures in the chat.
¿Por qué no me dejaste o
Uncle
porque
Duck says,
por YouTube?
no, there's no pictures. Uncle Duck says, true stray bullet and kill the drivetrain. Barracuda. Am I right in thinking that Ford still supplied the old Type 302 and 351 Windsors? How old? I don't know about the makeup of the engines. The mechanics here would. Vilefly probably would know, and Dean definitely would know.
Dean was here, wasn't he?
He was, yes. But he's probably going on somebody else's live right now.
Oh, fair.
This sound is picking up something that's not us. I don't know what it's picking up. Not very sure, Uncle Duck says. I don't think so. After 98-ish, it all changed. Yeah, sure did. They keep chasing miles per gallon, keep chasing emissions. I think some of that is over with now, though, as long as this president is still president. The F-150 had the last of the V8s.
Fine.
Big Bullet says possibly in a crate engine from Barry. I haven't looked at what Ford has been offering for a while. They just offer the Coyote. The Coyote is what they put in things now. I don't know what this microphone is picking up.
The fan?
No, because I cover the microphone and it's still.
Oh.
I think it's the fan. Uncle Doug says, oh, you can buy all remans all over the place. CD Burlock is asking, did they make F-250 and bigger?
You skipped my message.
Mrs. Spec says cat in a box.
Yes.
He's not in a box. He's just on the bed.
I didn't say it was him.
In Mexico, they did not. There was no F-250. Well, there's F-250s here, but that just means it had a V8 under the hood. It didn't mean it had three-quarter ton suspension. F-150 was a 6-cylinder, and then Lobo was the big one, was the fully loaded truck for Ford. But no, there were no F-250. There were no three-quarter ton trucks, and the only bigger truck you could get is a cabin chassis. I think it was a 1-ton, but I could be mistaken.
Uncle Doc says, got a Coyote F-150 14-inch?
No, 2014.
Oh, 2014, sorry. My daily. Deborah says, Miguel, also like Godzilla for work trucks.
Is there a Godzilla in work trucks?
Uncle Doc says, yes, but went to Super Duty per se.
Yeah, in the U.S., but not here. I mean, lately they've been selling the bigger trucks. But for most of the time, there was no four-wheel drive. There was nothing special, nothing fancy. I mean, it was kind of weird when Chevy brought out the Hunter, which was the fully loaded, and not even a fully loaded, because I've seen Hunters with manual windows and no air conditioning and stuff, basically a sticker package. And then they brought out the 89.5 square body regular cab short bed that was basically a fully loaded truck with air conditioning and power windows and power locks, and it might have tilt, but maybe not. No tilt. I don't think it had tilt and cruise. I don't think those were anything in Mexico, but they were basically a luxury truck in Mexico, which was a weird thing because that was never a thing in Mexico.
Uncle Doc's Godzilla is an animal of a mother. And City Products is 7.3 liter Godzilla 2020 on. And Joey wants my attention. Bring me the brush so I can brush you. Bring me the comb so I can brush you.
Yeah, like he's gonna do that.
Bring me. He likes it.
You can't do that in front of a fan because it's gonna blow all the hair all over us.
Te estaba preguntando.
I will offer my opinion anyway.
Te estaba preguntando.
Whether you ask me or not. Barking cat. Guys, you've seen all the pictures I have to offer tonight. I'm sure we're all tired.
Are you tired?
And there's mosquitoes in here.
Are they? How's that?
I'm watching them fly around right here.
How's that happened?
I don't. I don't have a zapper.
I'm working on it. Okay. Because it's fell that over here. Well.
You kissed right into the microphone.
Sorry.
I looked right into the red light. Mine doesn't blind me anymore. They're around here somewhere. Stray Bullet, the technology of the new engines has left the Windsor and 385 series engines practically obsolete performance-wise. Yeah, but for dependability, I think we'll stick with the old ones.
Los bigotones. Son los bigotones.
Stop it. I'm not yawning. You're yawning. I'm not feeling the heartbeat in my eye. You're feeling the heartbeat in your eye.
Are you okay?
We need to burn stuff.
Tonight?
I don't have the energy to do it tonight, but we need to. I'm already dirty, though.
Joy! No, don't play with
I think we're going to end it here, Mrs. Spec.
Are you?
And I'm not sure what day we're going to put out the next video. Uncle Duck and all of my
followers,
new members. But I'm trying to figure out a day to post the member video.
Yeah, it should be specifically one day, so you know. When did you
They're going to watch it whenever it comes out.
Yeah, but when did you post the
I don't know.
Well, check on that and
Yeah.
you post it. You post.
Maybe. Oh, stop yawning.
Did you read Stray Bullet's message? It's technology of the new engines.
Yes.
Okay. Then Uncle Doug gives you rock on. Reportlog says Godzilla is push rod much simpler. Stray says good night everyone. Bolivia says good night Mr. and Mrs. Beck and chat. Uncle Doug says ciao friends.
Adios, all.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for Uncle Doug for
The memberships.
memberships.
I hope at least one of them will watch Mrs. Spec dance. I'm gonna make sure TK does.
Yeah, we'll send him a message. He's obligated by contract.
Uh huh.